It's beginning to look a lot like summer, the hottest part of the year.
August.
Oh, baby.
But school. I love school.
When you have you ever tried? I know school's coming back in session.
Have I ever
During
tried?
this time of the year, have you ever tried to bake cookies in your car?
I haven't. No.
Because people tell me that you
Can
can
you do that?
Apparently you can, because
your car would smell so good.
I know your car would smell like baked
Are we
cookies.
gonna try this?
Should we?
Did we just become best friends?
Shake and bake.
I would do it.
Would you? If I got some cookies for you,
So many activities.
would you? Would you like to? Okay. Would you like to?
I think we should do it in your car
What my car smells.
first. Because you park outside, I park in the garage.
Oh, where would we put them? On you have like a back window. I have a sliding glass window. But I'm also open to it.
Okay.
I'm willing to park my car facing
Can I tell you a
south.
hilarious story about my dad?
Is this about I Am Dead folder?
No. When
Which I still
there was
think is-
one time we were driving somewhere, it was my dad and my mom and I. This is probably 20 years ago, but we were. He said, "All right, and we'll stay. You know, we were driving. It was a long distance, but and then we'll stop and we'll have like a roadside picnic." And I remember thinking, "Okay, I don't know what that is, but." So we're driving along and we stop, and we get out, and my dad starts pulling stuff out of the trunk, and I'm like, "What are we eating?" There's
Your
like
mom's
a
like,
bag of
"Marty,
chips."
did you bring the?"
He pops the hood.
Come on.
Before we left, he took like some hot dogs and a hamburger, and he put them in tinfoil,
No.
and he put them in the engine.
Because it
And
gets
then
hot.
we drove for 3 hours, and then we got out. So the hamburger that did not work.
With the hot
But the
dog.
hot dogs, it worked. So he opens up the hood, gets like the little tongs out, gives me a bun,
Yes.
opens the tinfoil, and takes the hot dog and puts it in my bun.
Wow.
My mom was like, "What,
Marty, what are you doing? I'm not
what
eating that.
are we doing?" But it was awesome. It was awesome.
Similar story. My dad. Our dads are both engineers. And your dad an engineer? Or is it business?
No, he's a businessman.
My dad's an engineer.
And
So
a teacher.
he, when I was a kid, they needed like hot milk or something like that. Warm up kids' food. And so my dad popped the hood, put the baby jars in the engine, and then drove down the road.
In the glass?
And it just kept
Wasn't it in glass?
Yeah, it was a glass jar. So it warmed up the glass jar. It didn't explode it.
Oh my gosh.
And then he warmed it up, and then
Oh, dads.
they're geniuses.
You guys.
Yes.
Well, anyway, welcome to the Pastors of Pain.
Hey, hand me that card you have there in your left hand.
Okay.
I wanted to promote this at some point in time.
We did a show on it. Me
Wait.
and Joey Griggs.
What?
Father Carey's not listening.
I did not listen to it. Is this this was the
I have a
podcast on
copy of
surrender?
the Surrender Novena. Yeah.
We
did when Joey Griggs was on a couple weeks ago. He talked about kind of his vocation story, surrendering to the Lord, and then at the very end, last couple minutes, we talked about the Surrender Novena. And I put a little link. In the show notes.
This was like 3 years ago.
Surrender Novena.
No one knew anything about this.
They've done I don't know who's doing it, but they're doing a great job of promoting it.
I think it's just sort of like shown up, sort of grassroots. It just kind of popped up. Boop,
Yep.
boop, boop. The Focus missionaries have had it in their repertoire for probably the last 2 or 3 years, and then my
What do they know?
spiritual director gave it to me a couple of years ago, and man,
It's bro.
Bro.
It's good.
if you are sleepless and you want to judge everything, direct everything, and see to everything, and you surrender to human strength or worse, to men themselves, trusting in their intervention, this is what hinders my words and my views. Oh, how much I wish for you this surrender to help you, and how I suffer when I see you so agitated.
You're gonna read
Satan tries to do exactly this, to agitate you.
All right.
See,
Okay. Moving.
Moving
We already
on.
talked about it.
I know, it's so
We
good.
already talked about it. So going back about a year now,
Oh, whoa. Let me guess what happened a year ago.
going back a year or so.
Wait. That was the Houston Astros
started-
cheating. Wasn't that a year
That
ago?
was in 2017.
But close.
We started to do kind of a little series on the Ten Commandments.
Oh, that's what you wanted to talk about.
So we have already done. You can go back and listen to. We did an episode on the first commandment. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. We did a show on the second commandment.
But numero dos.
Of not taking the Lord's name in vain.
Nombre de Dios es santo.
We did an episode on the third commandment of keeping holy the Lord's Day.
Worship him.
Then we also did a show on the fourth commandment, which was about honoring your father and your mother.
Came in like a wrecking ball and just crushed me.
So you can go back and listen to those. But I thought today...
you want to skip to the 9th?
We're going to do the fifth commandment.
Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's goodies.
We will do that at some point. We will do that at some point. But I've been teaching this class all summer on the Catechism.
Oh yeah, sure.
It's been so fun.
You do that every summer. You took
yes. So
What are you
my
gonna do
first
next-
summer here was 2018. We did the first section of the Catechism on the Creed.
That's what you love to teach, though.
I do. I really do. Then the second summer, with 2019, we did the second section of the Catechism, which was on the sacraments.
Mm-hmm.
Then last summer, we didn't do squat because nothing was happening. Then this summer, we picked it back up with this third section.
The moral life?
Which is on life in Christ, the moral life, with a specific focus on the commandments. Anyway, it's
Life
so
in
fun.
Christ.
So we're just finishing that. So I think it was 12 Saturdays for an hour and 15 minutes every Saturday. So it was 15
and you walked
hours,
line by line by
15 hours of teaching. And so you can go get it on our parish SoundCloud account. You can go back and listen to all of them if you've really got
What are you going to do
some
after
time.
you finish the section on prayer?
So that'll be next summer. We'll do
Yeah.
prayer. I don't know. Maybe we start over. I don't know.
Whoa.
Or move on to I don't know. We'll figure that out. We got a year. We got 2 years to figure that out.
Mel Brooks said there were 15 commandments. I bring you these 15. I mean 10 commandments. It's like
Beautiful.
Okay.
So the fifth commandment is thou shalt not kill.
Red rum.
And I think, my opinion, is that this, most people, like you hear this sometimes, like confession, where somebody would say like, yeah, well, at least I haven't killed anybody.
As if that's the measuring bar for holiness.
As if so when they're like going through the 10 commandments, they'll say, okay, I've put the other things before my relationship with God. I've used the Lord's name in vain. I missed Mass on Sunday. Oh no, I haven't respected my mother and father. Let's see, the fifth commandment. No, I haven't killed anybody.
No direct homicide, no murder, no abortion. No,
And then they move on. But the fifth commandment, and this is really the beautiful thing about the Catechism of the Catholic Church, is it takes the commandments and dives deep. So like the fourth commandment, what we talked about last time, the fourth commandment not only includes honoring your father and mother, but also your siblings, anyone with authority over you, your boss, your country.
Yep.
So it has a much broader than it's sort of its language intends.
Let's dive into this fifth commandment.
So the fifth commandment
is thou shalt not kill.
Is awesome. So it's first and foremost based on
the Decalogue,
the teaching and the scriptures that all human life is sacred.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a problem with that, then the fifth commandment is going to be a problem for you. But that all human life is sacred.
All human life. That means womb to tomb. Whether you're an unborn baby on growing in the womb and you're a couple days old or minutes or seconds old, or you're an elderly person in an old folks home, or you're a prisoner and you're on,
or you're very, very ill.
Yeah.
So we would say oftentimes you'll hear it expressed that we want to respect life from conception to natural death.
Yep.
So keeping that in mind, when we talk about the fifth commandment, what's covered in the fifth commandment are the things you would think: abortion, euthanasia, the death penalty. We'll get into that. But there's also things like suicide, just war.
Yep.
But also things like the giving of scandal, the mutilation of the body. Anyway, other such things. So what shall we just
let's dive in, because I have a couple too.
Okay, so let's talk about first. The Catechism talks about legitimate defense.
Uh-huh.
So can you kill someone? If somebody said, I killed someone, if as a confessor, you would need to say,
tell me more.
What were the circumstances? Oh, somebody was breaking into my house to kill my family, and I killed them.
I was in combat, and it was direct.
My life was in
with the rest of my troops.
So the Catechism says, this is paragraph 2264, someone who defends his life is not guilty of murder, even if he is forced to deal his aggressor a lethal blow. So there is such a thing as self-defense, and that's true of individuals. That's also true of countries. If a country is attacked, they have the right to defend themselves by not by any means necessary, right?
That's correct.
If you break into my house, I can defend myself. But we would also, we say I would not. In proportion. Yes, I would not chase you down and then kill your whole family because you broke into my house.
Right. Like the nuclear option is never an option. In
the nuclear, yes.
The nuclear option
bomb, right,
is never an option.
And we would say, according to the Fifth Commandment, the difference between a just war and dropping a nuclear bomb on a city is that it doesn't distinguish between combatants and non-combatants. So when you drop a bomb, and this is true of a nuclear bomb or any other kind of bomb, if you drop a bomb and the bomb doesn't discriminate between somebody in the army and somebody who's an innocent person, then we have that's a violation of the Fifth Commandment.
Yep.
So legitimate defense. So there's a whole kind of section on there. Then it gets into a section on homicide, which is it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
One thing interesting though is that it does say homicide when there is a relationship is like a worse kind of homicide. So like the killing of one's parents or a brother or sister or a spouse. That takes on an even more grave. Homicide is always evil. Homicide of somebody with whom you are
in the genetic pool.
Yeah, or
like those two brothers in Broken Arrow, or was a couple years ago, killed their parents.
That's terrible. So anyway, that's the intentional homicide. Then it gets into abortion. So we've done other shows on.
Yeah, go back and listen to those. It's wrong all the time.
But what we would say is from conception, at the moment of conception, a person is a person. Dr. Seuss. A person is a person, no matter how small. And so a person deserves protection, and we would say legal protection from the moment they are conceived. I had somebody say to me one time, is a really interesting point. They said, the difference between you at conception and you now is food and water.
Right. When I was writing my thesis, the difference between you now and you in the womb is same genes, same DNA, same everything.
Yep.
You're just on a different trajectory than you were at that point.
Yep.
And you're going to be on a different trajectory when you're 90 years old.
Yep. So it has so there's a whole section there on abortion. One thing that I think anytime we talk about abortion, I think it's always important to talk about God's mercy. And so if someone is listening who maybe has participated in an abortion, has had an abortion, has been affected by abortion, I just want to, a sin does not change God's love for us. And we read this on the episode a year ago or so, but there's a beautiful passage in John Paul II wrote an encyclical called The Gospel of Life, Evangelium Vitae. If you Google The Gospel of Life, paragraph 99, it's John Paul II speaking directly to women who have had abortions, and it's beautiful. And I encourage you to read it. It will help you, you or someone someone you love. Okay, so then there's a section on abortion. Then there's a section on euthanasia, which is on the rise. We ought to be concerned.
Yes.
Oklahoma, I would say it's not. I have not seen any sort of legislation in Oklahoma.
But it just used to be Jack Kevorkian, and that was about it.
Right.
In Seattle.
Right.
And now it's progressed greatly to not just the elderly people who are in pain and want to die, or those individuals, but now it's like spreading sort of rampantly.
So the Catechism in 2276 says, those whose lives are diminished or weakened deserve special respect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A sick or handicapped person should be helped to lead lives as normal as possible. 2277. Whatever its motives and means, direct euthanasia consists in putting an end to the lives of handicapped, sick, or dying persons. It is morally unacceptable.
Yeah, if you've ever been to the British War Museum, there is a section in the
Let's
British...
assume I haven't.
Okay, there's a section on the British War Museum of the doctors who committed these things of euthanasia and abortion, and they were tried at the war crimes for these things.
Yeah.
Like, so the German, the Nazi doctors, there's even a book called Nazi Doctors. Those guys who did these things, who killed the elderly and those in the womb and the deformed and kids with Down syndrome, I mean, they got tried for murder at the war crimes. Wow. And now we're like, yeah, it's legal.
Whatever.
It's like, whoa. How is it not legal for the Nazis, and now it's legal for us? That incongruent, it just doesn't make sense. It's a problem.
I would say there's a difference, though, between what the church would call direct euthanasia and removing medical treatment.
Correct.
There's a difference between those. And so it can be kind of a subtle difference at times, but direct euthanasia is doing something that brings about the death of somebody. Removing medical treatment, that's extraordinary, that's causing harm, that's allowing the natural processes of death to take place.
Correct.
So it's an indirect. Anyway, there's a whole subtle difference there. The next section is on suicide.
Oh, and we've done,
and it's actually very sensitive, and I want to, obviously it's a sensitive subject, but the idea is that that God is the giver and taker of life, and so it's not ours to decide.
Correct.
But I do want to read one paragraph. 2283 is about someone who has committed suicide, and oftentimes people are concerned for their salvation and where are they? And this is just I find it.
This line has helped both of us out.
Yes, we've had to pastorally help people through this. So it's 2283, and it says, "We should not despair of the eternal salvation of persons who have taken their own lives. By ways known to Him alone, God can provide the opportunity for salutary repentance. The Church prays for persons who have taken their own lives."
Yeah, we don't know what's going on.
Right. So I think trusting in God's mercy. It's wrong. But trusting in God's mercy for them and for all of us. So anyway, I always want to put that out there. All right. Then under the fifth commandment, there's a little part about scandal. Giving. It says scandal is a grave offense if by deed or omission another is deliberately led into a grave offense. So scandal is when we set a bad example, among other things. Isn't that interesting that it falls in the fifth commandment?
Scandal, when we do something bad. Because it kills people's faith.
Yes.
It's killing our faith as well.
Yep.
I think there's a number of those that sort of people don't connect. I think like would you say, public politicians who live a life not united with the gospel or the teaching of the church.
Yep. Or priests.
I'm just going to go down the list. Politicians, priests, those big public figures.
Parents.
Parents who are like, hey, you got to do this. And like, well, you don't do it. Who then are killing the faith in other people.
I would say, I think in the priests, I mean, the sins, the public sins of priests are well known.
Oh, the sexual abuse crisis killed the faith of a lot of people.
We are not above the law here. But I would point out to parents who don't make Sunday Mass a priority.
Yeah.
What are you teaching your kid? I think you're giving your kid scandal. Ooh,
yowzas.
Sorry.
Come on, bro.
Sorry, people.
Hey, you're a pastor. This is what you're supposed to do.
The next section is on our respect for health. That we ought to be concerned with our health. We ought to help people. It also has a nice little piece about, doesn't say you can be too healthy, but it talks about the cult of the body.
Ooh, yeah, we live in that world.
So people who are overly concerned with how they look, overly concerned with the kind of the outward perception, and that can be, it actually can be like its own god.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Your body, Anyway, the cult of the body.
The culture of fitness and Botox. Everybody's trying to look young and everybody's trying to look fit.
So it talks about the abuse of food, alcohol, tobacco, medicine, the use of drugs. So this is anyone out there who's using drugs. The use of drugs inflicts very grave damage on human health and life. Their use, except on strictly therapeutic grounds, is a grave offense.
Ooh. My recent study, every summer I try to do a little research study, is the rise of schizophrenia and the use of marijuana.
Oh.
So
is there a connection there?
Yeah, there's some articles going around in sort of research in sort of Scandinavia where they're looking because when you do weed, when you smoke marijuana or you ingest it somehow, it drives up your serotonin levels and something else. It drives up these levels, which is also a recognized factor when they look at people who are schizophrenia, that they have these high levels in their bodies. And so now they're looking at like, whoa, people who are using recreational marijuana, not for medical reasons, but just for recreation to get high, to basically get drunk all the time, they're driving themselves into schizophrenia. So we expect an increase in schizophrenia with the legalization of marijuana in the state of Oklahoma.
I saw a stat that Oklahoma has 2.5 times as many marijuana shops as California.
Yep.
That should concern us. We should do a show on that. Okay.
Come
then
on.
The next part is about scientific research.
What?
That the humanity, the gift of human life must be respected.
Yep.
So this has been a little issue, like kind of with vaccines and just.
Oh yeah.
There's a whole section on organ transplants, which we're generally in favor of, as long as they're not forced.
Right.
We would also be opposed to people being able to buy and sell organs.
Oh yes.
Because that will ultimately lead to exploitation of the poor.
Mm-hmm.
And
people coming into the hospital who can't pay their bills.
Kidnapping. I don't know if you knew that kidnapping was bad.
What?
Kidnapping and hostage taking.
What about human trafficking?
So that's in there. That's
like when you go to Love's now, there's a sign up that says "You are the eyes." It's like I guess one of my friends, Kat Landrigan, she is like counseling with kids who have suffered from human trafficking, and it's pretty awful. That the slave trade of children that is going on in America right now is atrocious. But the slave trade of even young women who are being sold into prostitution and the pornography industry, that's going on. And so Love's gas station and other gas stations are telling truckers, like, you're the eyes on the road and at gas stations because you're around. So help save people's lives. And so there's been a number of truckers who have saved people's lives because they've seen stuff at gas stations. They see them on the road. They see people with windows, like a sign in a window that says, help me. Wow. And so kidnapping and the slave trade of young women and as my friend Kat said, not just young women, boys too.
Sure.
Is going on in the United States, and it's gross.
That's bad. So kidnapping, hostage taking, terrorism, torture, but then also this is I think an important line here. This is paragraph 2297. Except when performed for strictly therapeutic medical reasons, directly intended amputations, mutilations, and sterilizations performed on innocent persons are against the moral law.
And this has to go out to doctors right now, because there is a current going around whether, like, you can destroy your anatomy, whether it's your genitals or you have appendage dysphoria.
Right.
So appendage dysphoria is where you feel like this appendage doesn't belong to you. And it's a psychological condition in the mind that the person thinks that they shouldn't have it. They want it cut off.
We would say keep it.
So whether it's your genitals or a body part, keep it intact.
There's another piece on respect for the dead, like a dead body. So we don't. We've done an episode on this, but
this is going deep.
We don't spread ashes. We don't divide up body parts of people.
Correct.
Anyway, that's all in there.
Except for relics.
Respect, except for relics. That's a whole nother thing. So as a former military, Father Kerry was 6 years in the Air Force. There's a big section on safeguarding peace, avoiding war. Is very, very important. There's a great line that says, peace is not merely the absence of war.
Right.
Right. So we want to actively. There's a whole big section on war and peace.
This old pilot of a B-52 had on the back window of his pickup truck, and it was a B-52 across the back window, a big sticker. And a B-52 is a huge, heavy bomber, and it says below it, "Peace the old-fashioned way." Like, whoa.
Wow.
Bomb them out.
Wow.
That was the sticker.
Blessed are the peacemakers.
Yeah.
Matthew chapter 5.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
I used to have a sticker that I made, and it said, "Blessed are the peacemakers," and it had St. Michael the Archangel stepping on the back of the head of the devil with like a tomahawk and a suppressed MP5.
Yeah. St. Michael's allowed to be.
He's a peacemaker.
So that's the fifth commandment.
Wow.
So there's a lot there. So if you have questions about that, I would encourage you to dive into the Catechism paragraph. It ends at paragraph 2330. Starts at, what were you going to say?
I had another one to college students. A couple of them. One is the sin of gossip, because gossip kills other people's reputation and their joy for life. Ooh. And gossip and slander and those sorts of things. That is demonic. Because there's only one person in the scriptures who's called the gossiper.
No one at St. John's
and
gossips.
He's called the devil. But no, I mean...
Catholics don't gossip.
Catholics don't gossip. Yeah, right. These people get
Priests don't gossip.
I know. It's killing. So we have to be very careful about gossip because it kills the reputation of other people. A second one I talk to college students about is the overuse of alcohol. Because when they drink to drunkenness, it kills their organs. Yep. One, it also kills the joy for, as the psalm says, wine gives joy to people's hearts. That I've had some college students that their ability to have a glass of wine over dinner has been killed because they have killed their senses by the gluttony of alcohol.
Ooh, here's the paragraph. The virtue of temperance.
Ooh, come on.
This is 2290.
Is this in?
This is under the fifth commandment.
Stop.
The virtue of temperance disposes us to avoid every kind of excess.
Yeah.
The abuse of food, alcohol, tobacco, or medicine. Those incur grave guilt who, by drunkenness or love of speed, endanger their own and others' safety on the road, at sea, or in the air.
Oh, no. Speed. I love driving fast. I mean, not crazy fast. I used to drive a lot faster than I do now.
You park weird. In front of our house, we have like all these parking spaces.
The reason why I park that way,
I come out in the morning and it's like, why is he in?
Because after I ran into Pratt's bumper of his car and it cost me $4,000 in damage to his car, not mine, or $2,000.
We should do a whole show on that.
So those are a couple of things like I talk to college students about is in the fifth commandment. Don't kill certain things like your human sexuality. Don't kill your organs. Don't kill other people's faith life by your scandal, by the way you live.
Yep.
Don't kill other people's goodness of life by what you say on social media about them or Snapchat or throughout your group me's and your fraternity houses and sororities and clubs, because people commit suicide because of what?
It's damaging. Yes.
The damage we've done to each other.
People turn away from God. People turn away from the church.
Yeah.
Based on the scandal of people in the church that give it. So anyway, I would just encourage, if any of this struck you, number one, bring it to the Sacrament of Confession.
Oh yeah, and get some healing.
Receive God's mercy, but maybe something in here challenge you to live a better life, to look at your own life and the life of your family, the life of our parishes, that we can be better living out the fifth commandment.
And it's not just in our faith life, like, well, I didn't kill anybody.
Right. There's a lot more to it.
There's
so down the road, we'll get into 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. The next one is thou shalt not commit adultery.
Ooh.
That'll be a fire.
Hot stuff coming
through.
Okay.
We're going to go, but we hope you have a great day. We're looking forward to school getting started. And we'll see you on Sunday nights. God bless.
Peace.